Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to us here at the K&E Theater Group Local Spotlight Series. If this is your first time, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. We are so excited about our interview today. Just a couple of things before we get started. The first is always going to be in the comments section below here on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, there is a link. It is a PayPal link, and if you are inclined, please donate to K&E Theater Group. If you are not on Facebook or just want to, donate later, you can go on our website, which is ketg.org, and click on Support KETG. There you'll find the donate button. You'll be able to watch all of these in our archives, which will be on our website soon. Every Tuesday and Friday at 7 o'clock, though, we will release a new interview through the summer, and that'll be on our Facebook page, IGTV, and our YouTube channel. We are so excited to have our next interview here today. Let me welcome Lisa Parker. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Betty.
Goodness, I haven't seen you in forever.
So happy to see you. Very nice color on you, by the way.
Thank you. It really blends into my skin. I look like I just ran a marathon.
We love that rosy glow.
Oh my God, I'm already sweating. Okay. All right. So let's get this interview started.
Okay.
The first question I want to ask you is one of my favorite questions because it gets us to know a little bit about you and your journey. Is what is your theatrical timeline? By that I mean, like, where did you start and where are you now?
It's weird, but when I was 10 or 11, my family moved to a new town. And I was a painfully shy kid with, a droopy eye, freckles, buck teeth, bifocals. I mean, it was a bad scene. And I was always reading books and I didn't go outside. And I mean, here's a true story. At the end of May, we moved to this new town. And in September at the bus stop, the other kids were saying to my sister, "Who's that?" I mean, the whole summer I never went outside.
Oh
so
God.
skip, here's my poor mother. She's got this kid that never leaves, and she's thinking she's going to have a 40-year-old nearsighted spinster on her hands if she doesn't do something. So she finds out that in my town, there's a kids' summer theater camp, and a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood are going, and the moms are all going to carpool, and I think she was thinking, oh my God, get this kid out of this house. So I went, and it was the most magical thing. It was held at the high school. So you're in this big auditorium that's really dark and cold. And you walk in from the hot outside and into this theater. And then in the front is this stage and it's lit. And I think, oh, something's gonna happen here. And then it did. I mean, we wrote our own plays and we made our own costumes and we built our own sets. And we had to write these little short plays. And ours was a parody, a sarcastic parody of Little Red Riding Hood. And I played Little Red Riding Hood. And our programs did not get printed. I mean, I memorized my lines and blah, blah, blah. Our programs did not get printed. So the other kids said to me, you have to go out and introduce our play. You're the star. You're Red Riding Hood. And I was like, oh, I have to go out there and you're Red Riding Hood, go out there. So I went out, and of course, who's at these things? All the parents and the grandparents. And how are they acting? They're looking up at their little stars, and they're all smiling and happy and full of anticipation. So my first audience is in love with whatever's happening on stage. I go out in character as this sassy, sarcastic, bossy Little Red Riding Hood. And I introduce the play with all the sass in the world. And they laughed. And they clapped and they laughed and they smiled at me. And I thought, oh, this is wonderful. I love this.
What is that feeling?
That feeling. And honestly, that was it. Because the shy little Lisa, like, she couldn't relate. But as a character, I felt like I could do anything. And that was really the beginning of it, the beginning of getting over my shyness, of learning about myself, of exploring myself through character, exploring relationships through character. And so that happened in my youth. Then there was a big long break. And then when I graduated from college and I was married and Craig and I moved here to Connecticut, my parents lived here, and my mom, who was active in the Suffield Players, said, oh, come with me to this audition. There's a great part for you and there's a great part for me. Wouldn't it be fun if we could get cast together? And we did. And that was the beginning of the whole community theater experience, which was, I was 22. I'm not 22 anymore. Many years have passed. I love you, mwah, mwah. But many years have passed. And, but it was, I don't even know how to say it. It was joyful and delicious and wonderful, but I didn't think it could be my life.
Okay.
I knew it could be other people's lives, but it never occurred to me that it could be my life. So I did, I went to graduate school and I got to work at the insurance company, and I did all that stuff, but on the side was community theater. And then I took a long break, another long break, like a 15-year break.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then when I moved back here, I was sort of hooked by Kelly Sipe, who's very active with the Suffield Players, and she hooked me back for a teeny little part in a teeny little 10-minute play, and I was back.
Oh, thank God you are.
I love you. Thank you so much. Thank God I am. So that would have been 2016, I think.
Okay, so 4 years ago.
Yeah, and now, I mean, everything has happened since then. Everything exciting, well, because Eddie, I never thought I would direct. I never wanted to direct. I always thought, oh, that's too much responsibility to direct. But then somebody asked me to be an assistant director on a short little play, and I loved it. And then I never thought I could write. What? I can't write a play. And one day I sat down, first week of January, and I had an idea. I was lying in bed, I had an idea for a very cute play. And it's so funny because I started out in 6th grade with these short form plays, these 10-minute plays. And that seems to be where I'm having the most fun. So I've been directing mostly short form plays or staged readings because I'm new to this, right?
Sure.
But also I'm writing short form plays between 10 and 20 minutes. So that day in January, I sat down and I just wrote it. My process is I write longhand. I write in a spiral notebook with a pencil.
Okay.
And Eddie, it goes like this. Blah, blah, like just. And I can't write. I'm writing as fast as I can. And I don't read it back as I'm going. I feel like the play is playing in my mind and my pencil is the agent that writes it down.
I love that.
And then after like an hour and a half, I stopped and I got coffee, and looked around like, oh, I'm back in my world. Oh, look, this is my house. This is for 90 minutes, I was living at the park with my characters. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's immersion. Yeah.
So you started off at that summer camp where like little Lisa broke out of her shell.
Yeah.
And then you disappeared for a little while.
Yeah.
And went to college. Then you got married and you moved to Connecticut. You auditioned for a show with your mom.
Yeah.
And then you disappeared again for a little while.
Yeah.
And then you came back and here you are and you're performing and you're directing and you're writing now.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. I feel like that's like the ultimate triple threat.
Yeah.
So you just
Thank
talked
you.
about your creative process a little bit as a writer. What is your creative process as far as being an actor and a director? They're very different. All three of them are actually very different. I look at, there are similarities, of course, but I do look at when I'm an actor, how I delve into a show and it's one character compared to being
Right.
a director where you're kind of trying to get into the mind of everybody in the show and how they all
Yeah.
interact. So what is your process as far as an actor and a director?
It's so interesting because as a writer, I never write roles for myself.
That's very, yeah.
I see the play. The situation occurs first. Like, wouldn't that be funny if there were two people and something happened? That's funny. And I don't name my characters. I write him, her, or 1, 2, 1, 2, or A, B. I don't name them. They get named at the end, like a baby when it's born. Oh, this looks like Sydney. Yeah. Right. And then I have, how do I say this? I have an idea of what the hook is going to be, but I have no idea what the ending is going to be.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a play where this married couple, they're kind of in a rut, and they're kind of crabby with each other. They've been married a long time, and they break the fourth wall to come out and talk to the audience about how they feel about what's going on. Like, why is he always in front of the TV? I mean, am I wrong to wish for something else? And I want the audience to answer back. The hook is they find out they're actually not really married.
Oh.
Because the lawyer who married them and the papers were never filed, and all of this kind of thing, and they find out they're not married. So they have to decide if they want to stay married or not.
That's awesome.
So that's the hook.
So
then they go out into the audience again. So that the gimmick is they go out and talk to the audience again, and they say, well, should I? Like, what should I do? Like, how should I? Like, should I? And the audience tells them, and they react to the audience, and then they come back and they make their decision. So the idea came to me about what would happen, and I've been married a million years. What would happen if I found out I wasn't really married and I could choose? Right?
So let's take that play, for instance.
Okay.
How, if you were to direct that play?
Yeah. I did direct that play.
You did direct it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So script in hand, what was your process in now taking that play and putting it on the stage?
Yeah, that's great. When I wrote the play, I didn't write it and find the beats. As a director, I always go in, and the first thing I do is find the beats and who owns which scene. That's always my process. Oh, this is her scene. Oh, this is his scene. Oh, this is her scene. Oh, this is his scene. The power has shifted. I go in and I map that out. Okay. Even though I didn't consciously write it that way, as a director, I dissected it that way. And that's what I talk through with my actors. Who are these people? What's going on? When do you own it? When does he own it? When do you share it? What are you going to do? Huh. Now, here's the really interesting thing of all, Eddie.
Yeah.
Directing my own writing. The writer wants to give the line reading. No, I wrote it. You have to say it exactly like this. As a director, I would never give an actor the reading. That would be the biggest insult I could give to an actor, is give them, no, say it like this. I was in agony trying to shut up my inner playwright when I was being the director.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because like you have a line in your head a specific way.
Yeah.
You use exercises to try to help them get there, but then also, using what they're giving to kind of mold what the line should actually sound like.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is when you trust your actors, just like you are as an actor when your director trusts you. As a director, if you trust your actors, if you've cast well and you trust your actors, and if you are clear, if everyone is clear about what we're trying to achieve, then your actor will get there. And sometimes your actor will surprise you by giving you something you never expected, but it's truly delightful.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Now,
that was a great revelation for me, by the way.
Oh, of course. Well, I feel like as a director, we're always discovering. Just like an actor, we're always discovering.
Yeah.
So speaking of acting, what is your process as an actor now? So say like I gave you a script to a show, what would your process be to find that person and bring them to the stage?
Yeah. My process is I'm an immersion person. I think I vaguely mentioned that before, and I will read the script over and over and over and over again. And each time I read it for something different. What's up going up with these characters? What is the playwright putting in for scenic direction? Why are they doing that? Just I like, if it's a real life person like Sarah Jane, I will do all the historical research I can possibly do. But if not, I'm also very curious about the playwright and what was going on with them at the time that they wrote this play, or the circumstances, the historical circumstances. I played Ethel Rosenberg
Mhm.
in a play about Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, the executed American spies. And I did so much research about what was going on in the United States and in the world at that time that led to this moment. And so I'm an immersion person. I also really believe, sacrosanct, really believe in the playwright. And the playwright chose this word and not that word for a reason. The playwright put a comma there for a reason. Why is that? And whenever I'm struggling to find my place, like I don't know how to do this line, I don't know what I'm doing, I go back to the playwright, or obviously I go to my director, which I did. I came to you, I'm like, Eddie, I don't know what to do with this line.
No, I with your Sarah Jane Moore, I mean, we started with the book report. We found the characters
Yeah.
and who they were as real human beings, and then put into these strange circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding the comedy in such a for those who don't know, Lisa was our Sarah Jane Moore in our KE Theater Group's musical Assassins last year. And yeah, it's finding the humor in that darkness. That was tough.
That was tough, but she was so funny. And I think then, so it's all script until we start rehearsal. And then it's play, like I want to play with you and you're going to play with me. And then comes trust. And then comes freedom
Love
to
that.
be. I want to be her. I want to be her for 3 weeks or 3 weekends or just tonight. I mean, I want to be her. And I fall in love with all of my characters, no matter how unappealing they are.
I mean but that's who you're playing. You're playing a person. You're
Yeah.
creating someone from a page and bringing them to the stage. You have to be in love with them. You have to love what they do. If you don't, it can come across so false.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes complete sense.
And their humanity. I mean, what I fall in love with is their humanity, and I fall in love with their frailty, and I fall in love with their ugliness, and I fall in love with their effort, and I fall in love with their sadness. I mean, it's not just, hello, Dolly. It's like, right? I love finding that person in there.
You love the discovery of it.
I do.
I think that's the most exciting part of a rehearsal process is finding the discovery. It is discovering
Thrilling.
what makes these characters tick and want and what they need. I love rehearsal.
I love rehearsal. I wish rehearsal sometimes would go on forever.
Same.
But then we wouldn't get performance.
True.
Which is like getting on a tightrope.
Oh, it's
suspended 40 feet without a net, right? Woo, what a thrill.
I love it. So we talked about that. We talked about your creative process. So what have your favorite roles been as both in a non-musical sense and a musical sense?
Yeah. I think in a non-musical sense, my favorite role recently was in Neil Simon's Chapter 2. I played the best friend of the woman who's the lead. And my character, Faye, is a soap opera actress who is, horny as hell, and she's really funny, and she's going after this other guy's brother, and they're going to have a secret rendezvous, and there's all of this really funny comedy about her, and, she runs out in her sheet because they have a disappointing opportunity off stage when they're supposed to have sex, and she was so funny and so over the top. And of course it's Neil Simon. So it's, you know, fast, fast, fast. And we had a wonderful ensemble cast, only 4 people.
Oh, wow.
So there was incredible trust and letting each other go somewhere a little bit different every night and being there with them. Oh, it was thrilling. I mean, so much fun. So that would be my favorite non-musical role. I haven't been able to do as many full-scale musicals as I would like to, but I would say that my very favorite musical was Jacques Brel is Alive and Well and Living in Paris. Now, it's not a story musical, right? It's a compilation of songs by Jacques Brel, but they're so deep and they're so meaningful. And I got to sing the song Old Folks. Do you know that song, Eddie?
I know.
Oh, I recommend listening to it, but it's so beautiful because it's a commentary on what happens when people get old and how their lives become smaller. And there's a part that says, you know, the little cat is dead and no more do they sing on a Sunday afternoon. And when they do go out, arm in arm, in the morning's chill, it's to have a good cry, to say their last goodbye to one who is older still. Oh, I mean, it is so heartbreaking and so tender and so loving. And the stage was built out, and I was in a rocking chair at the peninsula, surrounded on 3 sides. Spotlight, darkness, singing Old Folks with a shawl around me. And I leaned forward for a second and I looked down, and there was a man in the audience, probably 65 or 70 years old, and I bet he was thinking about his mother or his father. And the tears were just pouring down his face as he listened. And I thought, that's it. This is theater. This is theater. We went there together. And that moment, to create that moment and share it, oh, and sing it, oh, it's wonderful.
Well, you are just so well-rounded as a performer. I mean, everyone just heard you sing a little bit. But what we're going to do now is, and I'd like you to introduce this, is Lisa's actually going to perform a monologue for us.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to introduce that for us, Lisa, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. My favorite Shakespeare monologue is All the World's a Stage from As You Like It. And this is particularly meaningful to me as I've been through the different stages of my life and where I was when I did theater this time, and where I was when I did theater this time, and where I am when I do theater this time. And maybe we can talk about that after.
Yeah. All right. Well, here is Lisa Parker doing a monologue from As You Like It.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being the 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick to quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the judge, with fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts to the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank. And his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sounds teeth, sounds eyes, sounds taste, sounds everything.
That was so good.
Thank you. I just love that piece. I love it.
You're just so well-rounded as a performer. Like, just so well-rounded. Now I want to move a little, as weird as this sounds, I want to move a little bit away from theater.
Okay.
Now, you had talked about taking a 15-year hiatus.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned to me earlier that you had lived in New Jersey and worked in New York City, and then you came back to Connecticut.
Yeah.
And you created Heads Up Coaching.
Yeah.
Can you
I
tell
actually
us?
created Heads Up when I was in New York.
Oh, you did. You
Yeah.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you brought it to Connecticut, correct?
Yes.
So tell us about what that is.
I'd be happy to tell you about that. This is so much my baby. Thank you for asking. Heads Up Coaching and Consulting is my company that I started in 2006. So it's an executive coaching and consulting firm. And for those people who might be unfamiliar with the term executive coaching, think about all the different kinds of coaches there are: theater coaches and baseball coaches. And, so as a coach, what do? You help someone who is a professional to take their game to another level, or to fix something that might be holding them back, or whatever that might be. So as an executive coach, I work with business executives in every function, in every industry, to help them be better at what they do.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's so cool. And what I love about it is I've always been a big believer in human potential. And one of the things I've discovered that I love about being a director is what I love about being a coach. You've got nothing but potential in front of you. And with the right key, you can help that person unlock the potential. You have the key. They actually have the potential inside them. Your job as the coach, your job as the director, is to unlock the potential. And that is the most joyful thing that you can do. So yeah, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I've been able to bring some of my theater background into my work because I coach people a lot on their professional presence and on their presentation skills. So because I studied voice, professional voice, classical voice, for many, many years, I can work with executives when it's their voice that is blocked, or when the tension is here, or when they're pinching their vowels, or when they're not projecting. I can use all of my voice training to help executives do a better job making a presentation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that you can bring theater into that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. So yeah, so that's Heads Up. That's my company. My proudest moment was when I hung out my shingle at 45 Rockefeller Center on the 20th floor with a view of the skating rink and a feeling like, oh my goodness, I have arrived.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So thrilling. It was so thrilling.
It's just it's so cool that like you have this incredible local theatrical career and following, because I follow you, because I think
Thank you, love.
it's incredible. But you have this whole other life that you've created that many people might not know about. They see you on stage and they see this incredible actress, singer, and they don't realize that you have this other life.
Don't leave. Don't leave. Look at this.
I'm right here. And you write books. What don't you do?
I don't do windows.
You don't do windows.
Do windows. No. But here's the funny thing. Sometimes I forget I even wrote this book. It's about executive presence, so you know how to develop executive presence. But writing the plays was like writing the book. Blah. Like all of a sudden I would blah. I'm out.
I just love that you can take two things that are not the same, but put them together to make things understandable and help you achieve your goals.
Yes.
That's very admirable.
Thank you. It's my joy. How lucky am I, right?
Right. Well, let's move to this next question because I think it fits in with what we're talking about. What's the best piece of advice you can give somebody maybe who's starting over? I mean, we are in a pandemic. There are a lot of people starting over, but also maybe people who are trying to start a new business.
Yeah. It may be a cliche, but it's so true for me. If you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life.
So true. And
from the day I started my business, I woke up every morning feeling like it was Christmas morning. Like literally, I couldn't wait to start my day and do my work. However, I went to bed every night like it was the night before finals.
Of course.
Oh my God, am I ready? Can I do this? Can I do this? And then wake up, yes, I can. So first of all, figure out what you love and try to find a way to do that, which is exactly what you're doing, my darling, isn't it?
We're trying.
You're trying, right? Okay, so that's number one. Number two, know what your values are, your personal values, the values you want to live your life by and the values you want to run your business by, and run your business that way. Run your business that way and stick to it. It will teach you when to say yes. It will teach you when to say no. And you got to know when to say no because you can't say yes to everything.
The hardest thing to do is say no.
Oy. Especially when you're like a pleaser. Oh, yes. Okay. And then believe in yourself. Okay. So believe in yourself. You've got whatever this is. You've got it. You've got it. People will tell you that. You might not believe it, but you've got it. So believe in yourself and then get as much training, as much education, as much as you need, as much experience as you can get. Get all of that, right? You've got it. Believe it. You've got it. And then let it go. Because now you're ready to perform. You're ready. Leave your ego at the door. Stop watching yourself. Stop judging yourself and just go do your work.
Once again, putting two things together that you love. Let's theater and just adding theater into this question. I just love that you can bring things full circle like that.
Yes, it's been kind of a miracle in my life at this age to
22.
read.
22.
I think I have to say 32. Eddie now. Yeah, okay. But anyway, I mean, and age is a number, but what I mean is, I guess at this stage of life, going back to All the World's a Stage, right? And his acts being the 7 ages. I mean, when I was in theater in my 20s, right? That first play that I did with my mom and all through my 20s, I felt like I was the lover. I was always cast as the ingenue and the girlfriend, you know, and the young bride and all that stuff, right? And then I think when I was building my business, I was the soldier, right? Full of strange oaths, although not bearded like the pard. But I just went out there and I kind of made it happen. And now I'm here and I feel like now I'm the judge, right? Full of wise saws and modern instances. And that's truly like, I feel like I have this wisdom that has come with this stage of life. And yet I feel like because of theater and the young people that I'm around all the time, I feel modern and I feel relevant. It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
You're just so fascinating. And you know, one of the best things about talking to you is how descriptive you are.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
just use your words and create such interesting imagery when you tell stories. I just am fascinated by you.
Thank you.
We are going to finish our interview today with the same question that I'll be asking everybody at the end of their interviews. And
Yeah,
that is, what draws you specifically,
yeah.
to live theater?
Two things.
Okay.
The community, right? You can't do it alone, right? The community of what we create together. Oh, and that process of creating it together is so joyful to me. And then the thrill of the live performance, right? I mean, anything can go wrong, and many things have gone wrong, and you got to fix it, right? You got to fix it right then. And it's immediate, and they're laughing, or they're silent, or they're crying, or they're not, or I mean, that you are never more alive than in performance, are you? Right? You know that.
I do. It's one of the best feelings in the world. Well, Lisa, this has been so informative. And like I said, you are just such a joy to listen to. If you haven't seen Lisa on stage, please do. She is just radiant and funny and heartwarming. It's a treat to see her. So if you see her name, flock to that show.
Thank you, my darling. Thank
I
you.
love you. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on the Local Spotlight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Bye, honey.
Bye. She is just a ball of radiant energy. I love that woman. Thank you guys so much for coming for this edition of the Local Spotlight series. I want to thank Lisa. I want to thank everybody who has helped put this all together. Just a couple quick reminders. If you're on Facebook right now watching, in the comments below, there is a PayPal link. Click on that, and if you feel inclined, you can give us a donation. Every little bit helps, especially in the time that we're in now. We're looking at doing a supersized 2021, and that will be just wonderful for everyone in our community, but it does take money and time. So any little bit will help. If you would like to donate later, or you're watching on IGTV, or our YouTube channel, you can always go to ketg.org and sign up for our newsletter, but you can also click on support KETG, and there is a donation button there. Thank you guys so much for coming here to see us on the Local Spotlight. We will be back every Tuesday and Friday at 7 o'clock with a new interview from local theatrical personalities. And thank you for letting us shine a little spotlight in your life.